Hello guys, this is Joshua Hawes. As you can tell, we're going to talk about the finale of WandaVision. Overall, I thought this was a fantastic way to end the show. There wasn't anything that really gave a massive connection between Doctor Strange, the Multiverse Madness, which is apparently what this is going to be kind of relating to. There was small things which I think will play an impact for the rest of the MCU, but I don't think there was this one massive thing. And by the way, Paul Bettany, who played Vision, is an absolute lie, because he kept saying at the end of the series there's going to be this Luke Skywalker level cameo, like a big character like Luke Skywalker is for Star Wars. That big cameo in this finale. Was there? No. The closest thing you can think of is a scroll. That's literally all. That's the closest thing you can think of. So and he also said he was finally getting to work with someone he was he always wanted to work with. That was himself. Oh, Paul Bettany, Anyway. So the show kind of starts where the last episode ended off with Agatha strangling a kid. This is the thing about Agatha. At the moment at least, she seems like a villain that's just there to serve the story, that hasn't got a really interesting story to her. Apart from the fact that witches tried to kill her and she was using evil magic, that's not a lot there that really makes her a long-term functional villain. So, which is a bit disappointing. I have a feeling that she might not be gone for good, so maybe they could use her in the future. But in terms of this show, she was just a villain, so the show can have a distinct villain for your kind of villain, hero, whatever you want to so call with Wanda. So that's kind of thing. The White Vision is a comic book character with no emotions, and this plays quite into it because basically Vision. The show starts off with let's just go through the show. So I'll try and go through it as best I can because a lot happened. The show kind of start off with her saving her kids and telling them to go to her house, and while she's gonna fight Arrow, she realizes that when she uses the power, she absorbs the power because she wants it for herself. So she just uses the power and chucks a car at her and smashes her through the door, and all that's left under the car is her shoes. I think that's a reference to Wizard of Oz, but I don't even know. I just thought of Wizard of Oz when I was watching it, when you see those shoes in the Wizard of Oz movies after the person was crushed, you just see the shoes. So there's that. I do think that is kind of the I don't know if that was a reference, but that's just what I thought. Then White Vision shows up and he's like, "Vision, is that you?" And he's like, "Wanda," and he grabs her head and he squeezes her head, and then created Vision, but Wanda the created Vision, White Vision and normal Vision, even though that isn't the original Vision, comes in and stays and throws into something and explodes. And they've got a fight. So Wanda's gonna deal with the Agatha, Vision's gonna deal with the witch. I really want to talk about this Vision thing. So basically they have a fight for a bit, and he's like, "Why are you doing this?" He's like, "My programming says I have to destroy the Vision, but I'm not the real Vision. There's only one Vision, and that's you." And this kind of and I have this whole conversation about if you add new parts to an original ship to point is the majority of new parts, is it the same ship? It was a very weird conversation, but I kind of get where they were going. So Wanda's Vision kind of gives him back his memories, because Hayward blocked off his memories, and he now gives them back, and he just says, I am Vision, then flies off. So here's what I think. Vision's now back. No one's really dead in Marvel. But what I think has happened, I don't think he's going to be the same Vision just White. I think he's still going to be emotionless. Like, if he ever meets Wanda, he'll remember those experiences, but he'll never have, like, he will never, like, have those feelings for her again. Like, he won't ever love her again, because he's just going to be emotionless. Because that's what White Vision is in the comics. I did a little bit of research, and when he found out all the memory, he wasn't like, and just like, oh my goodness, Wanda, I hope you're okay. Like, he don't remember that. He just goes, I am Vision, flies away. So, like, he no longer has feeling for Wanda, which is why I think the ending was even more, like, kind of emotional. But we'll get to that when we get to that. So they had their fight. They have their fight, and then Agatha, there was this part where Agatha goes to the main city and frees everyone from one person and just, can we maybe be with Crystal and I can be my 8-year-old child because I haven't seen her just with a holder. And then she stopped, reverses Wanda's control on everyone, and everyone just looked at her, kind of marched forward, and I was like, geez, like, what are you, like, what are you doing? He's like, she didn't know. I don't think she was truly aware of how much pain she was causing. She was just like, I was trying to give you a better life. And yeah, I don't think she was truly aware of the pain she was causing for her own, like control. Maybe that was her just being worried. It's very hard to tell with her. I think she's going to be an anti-hero moving forward, not just a straight-up hero. She can be sometimes the villains of the story and sometimes kind of the anti-hero of the story. I think that is going to be the way they do it. This show also shows how blooming powerful Wanda is, because her power before was kind of there, but it was always overlooked. Like, she nearly crushed Thanos in Endgame, but people still kind of overlooked her in terms of her power. Just when people talk about the most powerful superhero, people think about Captain Marvel. Like, no, it's Wanda's the most powerful. If you can even call her a superhero, it's kind of weird at the moment. So then she opened the hexagon shield to let them go. They run, like, they can run, and so they run, but then Vision and her kids come over, and they're both slowly disapparated. She can't do it. She has to shut the portal. She has to shut the hexagon, but that time open and allow Hayward to come in and drive through the hex to try and stop Wanda, because at the end of the day, it wasn't really about the people. There was also this part where like, Jimmy Woo got caught, but he's like, I've called the lead, you're in trouble, and yeah, he basically able to sneak out, grab a phone without anyone knowing, and undo a lockpick. You know, that kind of stuff. That was just something happening during the big fights that were going on. So she closed the portal, then because the soldiers come in, I think Vision was still dealing with White Vision at the time. I can't remember, because he went to go and do that. Wanda's going to deal with Agatha, and the kids are going to do with the soldiers to, like, freeze them, take all their guns. You know, relatively simple. And then she uses her, like, powers we've seen, like, back in Age of Ultron, where she's, like, controls, and she turns it back to the time when she was, like, getting killed by these people. But the problem is, she's a Scarlet Witch. They go, oh, these dead witches come up and go, like, oh, you're Scarlet Witch, stop it now. So she's like, well, that didn't work. So they continued their fight, and Vision's trying to get to her, but she blocks him down. She uses all her power, gives her all her power, but she said that there were times when she was hitting the sides of the hex. Like, she was hitting the sides of the hex. So she thought she had all the power, but it turns out she moves away, which was a really good shot. And she had those symbols we learned in the last episode. she taught her about the symbols, and those symbols, if you use your magic to create those symbols, you can only you can use that magic in the closed area. And Westfield at the moment is a closed area. And someone's saying, how does she learn it? I'm like, it's pretty simple. You just magic a symbol. You just use your magic to create a symbol. I don't think it's that difficult. So she learned that. She basically, that allows her to be taken down. And this Hayward situation. Oh, by the way, this leads to Monica Rambeau. We've got to talk about this. So, as we know, Monica Rambeau is captured by Quicksilver. Everyone, even I was having these rumors like, this is the Quicksilver from the MCU. How did this get into this verse? The multiverse confirmed. Like, all that stuff. No, he's just an actor called Ralph, controlled by Agnes. Like, that part was a bit, they love doing this kind of stuff, Marvel. Like, they did this with the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. And, like, they made him feel like the proper villain. And, like, revealed him to be nothing really important. But they teased you so much to the point you were annoyed. And I was annoyed when it was just an actor called Ralph. That is my only gripe about this show, because it did a problem, which is one of the reasons I was not a huge fan of Iron Man 3. It did a bait and switch for the sake of being a bait and switch, and it made no sense for what they were building to and how big of a deal they made it in the show. So that was my only gripe, but this was really good. Still, so that kind of means Monica's able to escape. Hayward comes in, he sees his kid. To prove that he's a villain, he just tries and kills him. Like, he literally gets onto it and shoot, but Monica gets in the way. And she absorbs the bird, like, takes the bird, but does nothing. Just goes through and jumps down. And the only one that does go through and still shoot, one of the kids grabs it. And she's like, they're like, pretty cool ability. They're like, pretty cool. The kids were like, pretty cool ability. She's like, pretty cool ability to do. Are we mutants now? I think that's the only way you're really how you're gonna bring in mutants. I think that's a way of bringing in mutants, have the people in the Hex be mutants because they went through the Hex. I know she went through it twice and didn't have the powers originally, but I think that is a way you could realistically bring mutants in without them not being here for all this time without everyone hating on mutants. Just like a thought. So yeah, so the bout is kind of continuing. As she did the symbol, she's able to beat Agnes. She comes crashing out on the ground, and she says, your goal will be to forever be the character you chose to be, the nosy neighbour. You'll be always being the nosy neighbour through experiencing my torture. So that's exactly what she does, but she's like, you don't know what's coming, you'll need me. She's like, what if I do? I know where to find you. So I assume even when the ending happens, she's still, you know, Agnes, the character. So, yeah. After that, she kind of then agrees that they're gonna have to shut this Hex. And it's probably one of the most emotional scenes I've, like, I do remember getting a bit teary when I was watching the show. It was really emotional. So, we came into the house. She sent the kids to bed. And I really think for Disney they weren't going to go this far. But they sent the kids to bed. They thank them for choosing them. And that they'll always be family. It was quite emotional. And in the background we just see the Hex goes like shoot. And then the door shuts. And I'm like... Because of course they weren't actually going to see those like kids... like die, but that's basically what happened. I was like, jeez. So then they go to the house. They have one last conversation, and Vision asks him, what am I? She's like, she says how you're my pain, you're suffering, but more importantly, you're my love. And then have that one last kiss before the Hex go through them, and he slowly kind of disappears. And I really like that because it was kind of Wanda finally saying goodbye, because although with the whole White Vision's still around and is still going to be a hero, he's not going to be having the emotions he had. Maybe they could bring in emotions later, but he's still going to be an emotionless Vision. So, yeah, that's kind of what I think. So that still means that ending is emotional and powerful. Then she meets Monica and she's like, I understand what you go through, like, I totally get this. If I had your power to bring back my mother, you know, have that scene. And then she kind of leaves, and it pretty much cuts. Hayward gets arrested, and pretty much gets arrested, and pretty much that's how the show ends. Now let's talk about the post-credit scene. The first one was them trying to, like, take care of the people who've just been tortured for, like, weeks or something. So that's something to think about, like, so yeah. And then FBI agent says, come to the theater with me, we need to talk. Turns out this FBI agent's a scroll, and she's like, you need to see a friend of your mother. And she's like, okay, we're up there. And it's obviously gonna be Nick Fury. It's gotta be Nick Fury. I don't think it's anything like Reed Richards from Fantastic Four or anything. It's gonna be Nick Fury. Who else, apart from Nick Fury, has a relationship with the Skrulls and Nick Fury's mother? Like, and she knows what a Skrull is. She's experienced Skrulls before. So she wasn't like shocked, like, what are you? She knows she's a Skrull. So they're gonna go to space to deal with universal threats, aka Galactus. They've got to bring Galactus in. And not that Fantastic 2 rubbish one, the comic book version. He's the only main villain for the MCU can do that has the potential to be a bigger threat than Thanos. Because Thanos wanted to wipe out half the universe. Galactus, he can literally, imagine this is the planet. He can literally do that and the planet's destroyed. He can literally just do it with his fingers. I think he's the only guy you need to bring in if you want to give more, like, to be a bigger threat than Thanos, which is not easy, and give more stakes. So that has to be the long-term goal. It has to be Galactus. So yeah, that's this post-credit scene. But there's another post-credit scene. It's out in the middle of nowhere. It's Wanda drinking a drink. And then, but there's also another Wanda reading the book, which I think is the book that is missing. Not the one that those evil guys in Doctor Strange 2 stole, because they only whipped some paper. But if you notice on the wall, there was also another bookcase thing missing. I think it's that book. I might have already told you. She's kind of reading it. I think what they're doing is twofold, because I think there's going to be a similar... Because they do mention the source... Agatha does actually mention the Sorcerer Supreme, which is probably Doctor Strange. So I think this is her... I think her reading the book isn't like her. I think this is her asteroid form. You know how you have a, like, asteroid form? While... that Doctor Strange had, which can go out of the body. I think that's it, which is why there's two kind of wonders. Then she's reading the book and she hears her children, like, crying. She's like screaming, "Mom, Mom!" And this kind of stops her, and then it stops. How are the children alive? It was an emotional scene. I think the only way, this is just the only way they can really do this to tie into Doctor Strange 2, because it is confirmed, it does tie into Doctor Strange 2, and Wanda will be in that film, probably as the villain. The only way I can see is that they're in an alternative universe, like multiverse. She goes and try and find them, and this messes up the multiverse. Maybe I understand Doctor Strange is coming out after Spider-Man 3, so maybe we could have in Spider-Man 3, because it's women that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are going to be in the film. We see this huge, like, scene where all the multiverses going into craziness, and that brings them in. And in Doctor Strange, then there's a post-credit scene, and it was revealed that Wanda kind of destroyed this kind of reality, like, kind of did this on the search for her kids, and that leads to and another one could be Doctor Strange reacting to it, and they gotta go and stop her, because I think she's gotta be the villain. Like, she's gotta be. She's she is a villain at the end of the day. She's torturing humans. Like, she was the hero at the end of the story, but that doesn't make her a hero. It's just because we understand her struggle, we're willing to make her a hero at times. So I think she's good. She has the potential, and I think she will be, because yes, she changed her mind at the end, but she was willing to let humans be tortured just to get what she wants. Like, that's the issue I've kind of think that, yes, she destroyed because she thought better, but the fact that she even went to the first place shows that there's a dark side to Frozen. And plus, she's a Scarlet Witch whose goal is to literally, as Agnes learns, her goal is to literally destroy, like, everything, to be chaos and destruction. So, I think she will be an anti-hero. I know, a bit like kind of Deadpool, but of course more serious and more villainy, because I think she's got to be the villain of Doctor Strange. She's such a compelling villain. She's incredibly compelling as the villain. She has an incredible story that, because we know her story, we're able to think of her as the hero for the show. But we can also understand that torturing humans is probably not right. It has that weird line, which is what I really like about movies, which is why Last Jedi is one of my favourite films, that it blurs the line between right and wrong. Because, especially with Wanda's case, because you have, like, she's doing it because of herself, but she eventually chooses against it, but she's still torturing humans. They're probably going to have PTSD for, like, the rest of their lives, so they'll be traumatised for, like, forever. We'll just have to wait and see how they do with Wanda. Maybe they could have her be the villain of the story, because she's someone who's lost so much, and she has that children are actually out there. She's like, well, if I'm not killing anyone, why can't I get what I want? If I'm not harming anyone, it means I'm putting the multiverse in tatters, which has other consequences that she might not know. See, she's a villain that doesn't truly understand what he's capable of. That's just my opinion. Overall, this was a fantastic way to end the show. As you can tell, I've talked a lot. My throat is killing me now. So, yeah, that's it. Overall, I'll give this show... It's probably one of the best thing MCU has done. And here's me being a bit worried about how they're going to bring the MCU forward after Endgame. What an idiot was I. So, I'll just give this a 9 out of 10, honestly. If, like, I was doing a tier list of all WandaVision, it would be S tier. I understand this is just recency, and we've got to see how this impacts the rest of the MCU, because that can give a lot more impact to a movie. But overall, this was fantastic. I very much enjoyed it. 9 out of 10. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on the show as a whole. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, have you yet, turn notifications on so you never miss a video. See you all in the next one. Bye.